What would you do if your loved one was consumed by an unseen force? Could you stand the sight of them speaking in voices not their own, their bodies contorted in impossible ways? Tonight, we unravel real-life exorcisms, cases so horrifying they'll leave you questioning reality itself. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't just terrifying, it's true. Number 10. The Smurl Family Haunting. It all began innocently enough, a family moving into their dream home in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. But soon the Smurl family's life became a waking nightmare. The air turned icy cold, rancid odors filled the house, and faint whispers echoed at night. Then came the growls, the shadowy figures, and the bruises appearing on family members without explanation. Desperate, the Smurls called upon the famous demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens claimed the house wasn't just haunted, it was under siege by a demonic entity that had the strength to physically harm its victims. The exorcism was a harrowing battle, with Lorraine recounting how objects were hurled at them, and an ominous growl filled the air during their prayers. The house even shook, as if the entity was trying to resist being expelled. But here's the twist. After the exorcism, some neighbors swore they saw strange lights and shadowy figures lingering around the property. Did the demon ever truly leave? Number 9. The Exorcism of Anneliese Michel. Imagine waking up one day to find yourself trapped in your own body, unable to control your actions. That's exactly what happened to Anneliese Michel, a young woman in 1970s Germany. What started as simple seizures soon spiraled into something darker. Her voice changed. She displayed an uncontrollable hatred for religious objects, and she claimed to see terrifying figures no one else could. Her parents turned to the church when doctors couldn't help. Over the course of 67 exorcisms, priests claimed to encounter demonic entities like Cain, Judas, Nero, and even Lucifer himself. Recordings from these sessions captured Anneliese growling in deep, guttural voices, screaming that she was damned forever. The most chilling part? During one exorcism, Anneliese suddenly screamed, "I am free!" before collapsing. The priests believed the demons were cast out in that moment, but skeptics question, did she find peace? Or was her body simply unable to endure the torment any longer? Number 8. The Strange Case of Robbie Mannheim. This case inspired the Hollywood classic, The Exorcist. Robbie Mannheim, a 13-year-old boy from Maryland, became the center of a media frenzy in the late 1940s. After experimenting with a Ouija board, Robbie began hearing scratching noises in his walls, objects moved by themselves, and furniture was flung across the room. When priests were called in, what they witnessed was beyond comprehension. Words appeared scratched onto Robbie's skin, seemingly carved by an invisible hand. His bed would levitate during prayers, and he spoke in a guttural voice that no child could mimic. The exorcism lasted weeks, with Robbie repeatedly screaming obscenities and laughing maniacally at the priests. Finally, one fateful night, after hours of intense prayer, Robbie fell silent and calmly whispered, "It's gone." But what did it leave behind? Some say the room still carries an eerie chill, and to this day, visitors report strange occurrences in the house where Robbie once lived. Number 7. Clara Germana Seeley. In 1906, a young girl from South Africa shocked an entire convent with her sudden and inexplicable behavior. Clara Germana Seeley, a devout Catholic, began speaking languages she had never learned and displayed superhuman strength. Witnesses claimed she levitated 5 feet above her bed during one exorcism, screaming blasphemies and voices that didn't belong to her. Priests who conducted the exorcism described feeling an oppressive force in the room, as if the air itself had become heavy with malice. At one point, Clara allegedly revealed the secrets of those present. Secrets no one could have known. The climax came when she let out an ear-piercing scream and collapsed. The demon was gone, but Clara's story remains one of the most chilling accounts of possession. Here's the twist. After her exorcism, animals in the convent reportedly avoided her, growling or fleeing whenever she approached. Before we dive into the most terrifying exorcisms, let me remind you, if you're still watching, this story has gripped you for a reason. Please subscribe, because hitting your subscribe button can give me new motivation to work harder and succeed. Number 6. The Watseka Wonder. Imagine being possessed not by a demon, but by another person. In the 1870s, 13-year-old Lawrence Venom of Watseka, Illinois, began exhibiting strange behaviors. convulsions, trances, and speaking in voices that weren't hers. One day she claimed to be Mary Roth, a girl who had died in the same town years earlier. Laurency described Mary's family, her home, and even specific details about Mary's life that she couldn't possibly have known. The Roth family, desperate to communicate with their lost daughter, embraced Laurency as Mary. This possession wasn't violent, but it was deeply unsettling. Laurency eventually returned to herself, but skeptics have debated for over a century. Was this a hoax, or did Mary Roth truly come back through Laurency? Number 5. The Michael Taylor Case. Michael Taylor was an ordinary man from Yorkshire, England, until one day he began acting out violently, accusing his wife of infidelity and speaking in strange voices. During an exorcism, priests claimed to cast out 40 demons, each more malevolent than the last. But here's the shocking part. Hours after the exorcism, Michael brutally murdered his wife and dog in a fit of rage. The priests believed one final demon had remained inside him, one they hadn't expelled. What do you think of these chilling tales? Which exorcism shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping top 10 lists. Your suggestions could shape our next video, so leave your ideas below. And remember, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Number 4. The Possession of David Glatzel. This case is one of the most infamous and controversial possessions in modern history. In 1981, 11-year-old David Glatzel from Connecticut began experiencing terrifying nightmares and seeing a dark figure in his room. Soon after, his behavior changed drastically. He growled, hissed, and spoke in deep voices, claiming to see the beast. Objects around him would move, and claw marks appeared on his body without explanation. The Glatzel family turned to Ed and Lorraine Warren for help, and what followed was a grueling exorcism that reportedly took days. During the ritual, David's small frame displayed impossible strength, and at one point, witnesses claimed they saw his body levitate. But the twist? The horror didn't end with David's exorcism. Shortly after, his sister's fiancé, Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, became possessed himself. This led to the infamous "Devil Made Me Do It" murder trial, where Arnie claimed demonic possession drove him to kill. The case shook the legal world and left a chilling question unanswered. Can a demon truly pass from one person to another? Number 3. The Haunted House of Erling, Iowa. In 1928, a quiet little town in Iowa became the setting of one of the most terrifying exorcisms in history. Anna Eklund, a young woman in her 20s, exhibited signs of possession after being cursed by her own aunt, who was rumored to practice witchcraft. Anna's behavior turned violent. She screamed obscenities in multiple languages, rejected holy items, and became uncontrollably aggressive during prayers. When Anna was taken to a convent for her exorcism, what unfolded was beyond belief. Witnesses claimed she vomited items like nails and needles, and her body contorted into unnatural positions. At one point, Anna reportedly climbed the walls like an insect, defying gravity itself. The exorcism lasted 23 days, and the priests involved said they battled not one but multiple demonic entities within her. When the ordeal finally ended, Anna was left physically and emotionally drained. But even after her exorcism, locals reported strange activity around the convent, an eerie reminder of the horrors that had taken place there. Number 2. The Possession of Julia. This modern case is one of the most chilling and well-documented possessions ever recorded. Known only by the pseudonym Julia, this woman sought help from a priest in the early 2000s after experiencing terrifying phenomena. She claimed to be plagued by strange voices, shadowy figures, and unexplained physical injuries. During her exorcism, multiple witnesses, including doctors and nurses, reported seeing things they couldn't explain. Julia spoke in different languages, including Latin, and her voice changed to a guttural growl. Objects in the room moved on their own, and strange animal-like sounds filled the air. The most unsettling part? Witnesses claimed Julia demonstrated clairvoyant abilities, describing events happening miles away in vivid detail. Even after her exorcism, her case remains a mystery, with many experts labeling it as one of the most credible accounts of possession ever documented. Number 1. The Possession of Father Theophilus Riesinger's Patient. And now for the most shocking and horrifying exorcism of all. In the 1920s, Father Theophilus Riesinger, a renowned exorcist, was called to help a woman who had been tormented by demonic forces for years. The woman, known only as Emma Schmidt, displayed terrifying signs of possession, violent outbursts, unnatural strength, and an aversion to anything holy. The exorcism took place in a secluded convent to protect Emma and those involved. Over the course of 23 days, Emma's behavior became increasingly horrifying. She reportedly levitated, screamed in multiple voices simultaneously, and revealed secrets about the priests that no one else could have known. But the most terrifying moment came when Emma's body suddenly froze, and she began speaking in a voice that the priests identified as Lucifer himself. The demon claimed ownership of Emma's soul and threatened to destroy everyone in the room. After hours of intense prayer, Emma let out a blood-curdling scream, and the room filled with an overpowering stench. When it was over, Emma collapsed, and the priest declared the exorcism a success. But here's the twist. After her exorcism, Emma claimed she could still feel a presence lingering around her. Was she truly free, or did the demon leave something behind? Final call to action. These were the top 10 unbelievable exorcisms that actually worked. Which story left you speechless? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget, please subscribe.